Welcome to episode 95 of Comic Book Nation, the official podcast of Comicbook.com, and our second show back in the 2020 era. With me again, my co-host, Mr. Matthew Aguilar. And back with us for the first time in 2020 is Janelle Wheeler.
Yes, so excited to be here. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, you were kind of like, you were having withdrawal symptoms from not
I was.
being
I
here
kept
and,
like
speaking with
texting,
everybody.
hey, podcast this week? Hey, podcast this week? And everyone's like, no, we're taking like
Yeah, it was
vacation
awkward.
and-
It was kind of like just awkward in the sense that we hadn't actually put you in the 2020 budget, but we did some scrambling behind the scenes, and now you're back. And that's good.
Yes, I made it.
Nobody ever would know unless we told you right now. But now that we did get Janelle back, we're going to put it to good use because we have a lot to talk about today. We have a new trailer for the new Mutants. Yeah, so that's happening. After all our trash talk, Charlie Ridgely turned out to be right. I actually had him on here. He couldn't make it on today, but we're going to give him a chance to come on and say his I was right and give us crap for that because we did just argue this whole thing and he turned out to be right, and they're putting New Mutants in theaters for some reason.
Well, he's right about part one. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We're also going to talk about the first set photos from the Batman that is now officially filming. It's actually happening, guys, and we have the first set photos, so we're going to talk about what all we see in those. Things that are actually happening. The theme continues because we also have the first concept art of Avatar 2, a movie most of us thought never going to see in our lifetime.
Yep.
This is actually also happening. And we got a massive addition to the MCU. We're going to talk about all of that. Let's start with that last thing because I actually want to talk about that and it's kind of exciting. So, the MCU keeps expanding. We're wondering what's going to be kind of like the big hooks in Phase 4 to really pull us in and get us into the franchise again. And they certainly got our attention yesterday with the announcement that they are bringing Batman over to the MCU. Christian Bale, star of the Dark Knight trilogy, is hopping on board the Marvel train. He said goodbye to Martin Scorsese and he came over to the Empire of Evil to join Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder. We have no idea who Christian Bale is going to play in Thor: Love and Thunder, but that's a big get for the MCU, right?
Absolutely.
It's
Like
awesome.
crazy.
Like, Christian Bale is pretty much money in almost anything. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
But I
even
wonder, like, it's a great get.
Yeah.
But is it going to be like Sylvester Stallone in Guardians 2?
I would hope
That's
not.
still good.
I mean, that's still a good get. I don't know. I think Bale.
I mean, are we all begging for more Sylvester Stallone?
Well, yeah. I think Sylvester Stallone was used.
Wouldn't mind more Star
Well, right? I mean, yeah, he could have been used a little bit more. But if you get someone, Bale is, I feel like, at a little bit of a different point in his career than Stallone.
And also
So
a
if you-
different type of actor.
Yeah. So if you get Bale for this, I feel like you're not going to use him in a maybe a little bit bloated cameo. Like, you're not
Yeah.
going to just.
Even if he's in one of those like so weird celebrity cameos that Marvel's been throwing into more and more movies, that's still like
It's still awesome.
that's still a good get. Like Matt
Yeah.
Damon was, and like all of that stuff, like in Thor Ragnarok.
I do
Like,
hope it's more than that.
So do I.
Same.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
sounds like it is a legitimately bigger casting than that.
yeah.
But of course, there's already theories about who he could be playing. So let's just talk real quick about who we don't have anything to go on, so there's not like any educated guess about this, but who do you guys want to see him play? Because obviously from our background, there's an early favorite that basically Christian Bale could play Beta Ray Bill. Oh my God, my mouth isn't working today. Beta Ray Bill, the kind of horse-faced alien who also gets a hammer of Thor and becomes his own kind of Thor, one of the most popular characters in Thor mythos, who a lot of Marvel fans have been wanting to see join the franchise for many, many years. So we're kind of getting, that's the early fan fave.
Yeah.
People were
kind of
losing their
breakout.
minds.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see that trending on Twitter, especially if you don't know what that was and you just open up Twitter and you're going, what is this? And then
Yeah, well, this is why, this is
Bale.
why you're a good addition, Janelle. Like,
Yeah.
what did you think when you opened up Twitter and saw that Christian Bale could be this horse-looking alien thing?
I wish that you guys
First
could
of all,
see my
what do you
face right
understand
now.
about Beta Ray Bill? Beta Ray Bill. Ugh.
I'm trying. Alliteration
Ray
today
Bill.
is
Hard
really.
time with English language today.
God.
It was really hard for me to understand or try to get down to the bottom of, would he be kind of like a nemesis at first and then move into a counterpart? I know that he uses the hammer that Thor is currently using right now. Yeah, it was a lot of disjointed information, and that's why I'm glad I'm here, because I want to know more about this character. I guess his species didn't look exactly like him, and he had some kind of thing happen to him where his face got stretched out to be more like a horse face, and that definitely threw me for a loop. But Christian Bale is kind of a beautiful man, and does have his face like, I mean, he would pull it off. He'd kill it.
Yes,
He
I
would
just feel
kill it.
like I don't really understand why everyone jumped to that as the conclusion. I guess just because they want better
Bale
rebuild.
has a horse face.
I mean, I don't understand, because I mean, there's nothing really to go on, like you said. So I mean, I could say Throg and have about as much shot as Better Rebuild, which is the Thor frog, right? So that makes as much sense. Like, there's nothing pointing to Beta Ray. The one I would kind of like, because if we are leaning into this like multiverse, reality dimension stuff, you can have some fun with that, especially in Thor. So I would love to see them do a riff on Thunderstrike and let Bale work some magic on that, and I trust Taika to do something really absurd and fun with that character, because that character is lame. Thunderstrike. Because no one expects
the
that.
cardiac of the Thor.
No one expects that. No one expects that. He's been lame for a long time, but if in the right hands, I feel like Taika could find something. I mean, think of Korg. Like, that's such a on paper, and Meek. Yeah, they're good characters, but they weren't.
Yeah, but
what
those
Taika made them.
But those aren't like blatant Thor ripoffs.
I know, but I'm saying if you're gonna have something, I feel like the vibe of this movie is I mean, keeping with Ragnarok, right? Is a very fun, lighthearted vibe. Take something as absurd and stupid as that and have him work his magic on it. Yeah, he might not go by Thunderstrike, but give like the second
You want him to
sad
have a
hammer.
mallet?
I mean, okay, think about this. If the Thor universe had their own version of Street Fighter's Dan, that is what I could see Thunderstrike being, right? Thunderstrike has a tiny hammer, right? He has this little bitty sad hammer. He can only do like one lightning bolt.
Poor guy.
Like, bring that into a Taika movie and it becomes ridiculously fun. So I think something like that would be cool. And Bale can do that.
I think the Dario Agger campaign is probably, it makes a lot of sense because
I agree.
Explain
so
to some of these people-
Dario Agger is the CEO of Roxxon Corporation, which is basically like the shady evil. It used to just be the shady evil oil organization of the Marvel Universe, but now it has since expanded to basically be like evil Amazon, basically, or Google.
Yeah.
And the guy who runs it, Dario Agger, also turns into a Minotaur. But given how Taika likes to skirt the line of politics and stuff in all of his movies, evil CEO who could turn into a Minotaur is right up his damn alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Christian looks well fitted for that.
And Jamie Lovett said the same thing. He goes, he can just play his American
Psycho
character
Yeah, I was about to say.
in this movie.
It's always, you got to ask, what do the casting directors see to kind of
Right.
get this? And it's like, it sounds like that would be American Psycho, Christian Bale kind of coming back and doing a riff on that, which, he might love to do some kind of like
Yeah.
I think that's
Patrick Bateman with a guy who could turn into a Minotaur. So
that's a very accurate. I mean, I think in all likelihood it will end up being something along those lines. I still want Thunderstrike.
I don't know. I'm kind of.
I mean, I'm all for having Thunderstrike in the
Just
the
because it plays
MCU,
against
but
type of the characters that Bale typically
But-
plays. He plays brooding. He plays the very conflicted internally. Very he plays those characters. Thunderstrike, complete opposite.
you
of
may
that.
have read more Thunderstrike than I think anyone in the world has.
bragging rights. There you go.
I was just saying,
well, I mean,
that's
it's Matt and the other 5 people at Thunderstrike Con,
Wonder he could be playing Cardiac.
If
it happen.
Christian Bale ends up playing Cardiac, like,
Make it happen.
I'll let you name whatever crazy thing you want me to do after
enough.
that. But yeah, I mean, that sounds like the most grounded. I think there's a lot of this. We don't know anything about Love and Thunder's storyline other than the premise that Jane Foster is becoming Thor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they're going with like the Jane Foster cancer storyline and all of that, like I could see something like Roxxon coming into play with that, for various reasons. I mean, the whole cancer cure would be like that. What was that guy who's now in jail forever, who had the AIDS pills that he was selling for like crazy amounts of money? Oh, what was that guy's name?
Real
Oh, the guy who's got the
Wu-Tang
Wu-Tang
album
album guy?
Yeah.
Felly, Smelly.
It's okay. Martin Scarelli. Is it Martin Scarelli?
Martin Scarelli or
I was
something.
Martin
close.
Scarelli. Yeah. Smelly Felly Scarelli. Yeah, there it is.
Whatever.
Like a type of Martin Scarelli type character. I could see that kind of happening too. But I could also see it going the complete opposite way and having Christian Bale be somebody of cosmic significance. Like I like the Silver Surfer theory. If that was somehow worked into this, that he would be like
Martin Shkreli.
There we go.
Norrin
Close.
Rad. I mean, I could even see him being something like if they were to finally introduce like a secret introduction of like Galactus or something like that. Then there's the God Butcher. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
in
there's
here.
a lot.
I mean, Thor's kind of dual nature is, in the clouds God and on Earth thing makes it kind of hard to call.
This is also one of those times where I wish you could get a redo because I think Bale would be an amazing Malekith, but he's already been done and
ruined,
tarnished and tainted. And
not by the actor, but by the director.
The actor was fine, but it makes me feel bad because I'm like, man, this would be awesome, especially seeing what he did with War of the Realms and stuff. Like that would be such a cool thing, but it's not gonna happen.
And it would also be cool if he was like head of Rox and they connected that back to things like Ant-Man and the Wasp. And
Yeah, because Roxanne exists in the MCU. So
and that was a big
great
part of
way to
Ant-Man
tie
and
it
the
all
Wasp that
together.
was dropped about who Walter Goggins' character was trying to get all this stuff for and his master. So that would be an interesting connection. All right, well, we'll wait and see what happens with Christian Bale in the MCU. I know we're all happy that they're continuing to land these kinds of actors.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
good. Moving right along to New Mutants. So we got the trailer for New Mutants finally. It's only been a couple of lifetimes, but we finally got this thing after the initial teaser, which was kind of cool. And this trailer, I mean, surprisingly enough, it didn't disappoint at all. Like it was actually a very solid trailer and kind of good expansion on what the teaser was. It just took many, many years, and it kind of added some more interesting elements that we didn't know about before. The teaser had basically said all these kids end up in a hospital. They're mentally troubled. They've been through traumatic things. They're all mutants. There's a great thing from Alice Braga about, baby cobras being the most venomous because they can't control their venom and how much they inject, and as a metaphor for young mutants and stuff. And some horrific stuff was happening. It was all a big mystery. This trailer kind of lays it out a little more, and it kind of tells you the story of Dani Moonstar and how she's kind of driving this story. And she comes to this hospital, but it's not really a hospital, which is the new twist that we get. Like this is some kind of weird spiritual or demonic kind of cage that they're in. Like the hospital literally has like a force field because demons love force fields. But anyway, and they're being haunted by some entity. It's the Demon Bear storyline. We can confirm that now from the comics. We actually see the Demon Bear. And these very kind of troubled and powerful young mutants have to come together and get themselves out of this situation.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of cool stuff in here. And the visual effects are a lot more done. We get to see like, if not full kind of showcases, at least teases of like Rain Sinclair transforming into Wolfsbane or Cannonball powering up to shoot off somewhere or Magic. Yeah,
Yes.
the best.
The best part of
thing.
this trailer is Magic.
Yeah, Ilana Rasputin manifesting her kind of armor and sword and that whole thing.
Coming out of a portal, limbo, like all that. Yes.
So that all looks pretty good. And it's pretty much what we wanted. It's the mixture of horror and superheroes.
That's really creepy.
With a little YA twist to it, and so looks pretty good. It's going to be interesting. I think the key to this movie will be how well they pull off these kind of sequences, these almost like Nightmare on Elm Street sequences, where they're doing these kind of like nightmares come to life type things. It looked really cool, like in the first trailer when we saw Dani Moonstar in like a solitary room where people are like coming out of the walls, and stuff like that. And there's a lot of different hints of that in this, like Rain's past with her father, and that whole thing, and her connection to the Catholic Church, and what happened in the mine with Cannonball, and all that stuff. So, again, I like this because it's an interesting take on the X-Men mythos about the kind of trauma of becoming a mutant, combined with like the hardships of puberty, adolescence, teenage years, all that stuff. And that looks like an interesting through line and a little bit darker take on the X-Men lore. So I'm kind of excited. Will this lead anywhere? I don't know. I don't know.
So
like,
Charlie
is it a
was right.
standalone or, I mean, I don't know.
So Charlie was right.
I would
It's going to
really
theaters.
love to hear, like, and I'm sure it'll come out.
He was, but I
at
said
one
this
point.
would have shut down Hulu.
Yeah.
I still think it's wrong. I don't know why they're
It'd have been a
releasing it
great
in theaters,
Hulu
and I don't think it's going to do much when it goes to
Yeah.
theaters.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like this was a movie that was so troubled by production, but with so many of the key producer people out of the equation, that I wonder if Disney just called up Josh Boone and was like, "All right, well, let's see what you originally had," and just like, it's already here. Might as well make some money. They've got a week. I mean, like, when you look at it, Disney doesn't have the year that it had this year, next year, or this year. And so they're going to need to get every penny they can, and putting it on Hulu without making someone pay a licensing fee for it doesn't, it makes sense, but doesn't make sense. I don't know. There is so much more at play here that I am just dying to hear about when.
Well, that's the most
Yeah.
interesting part to me is that. Like, I want to see, it's the same thing we talk about the Snyder Cut. I want to see the documentary more than I care about the movie. I don't
This
care about
movie, I'm not
going to see
this movie for a while was deader than dead. It was in a filing cabinet somewhere,
Wow.
locked shut. No one wanted to think about it.
So what
All the
changed?
actors have moved on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So I'm more interested in that. Like, I would be so excited to watch that. But, I'm excited for this because of Magic. That is literally the only
she
part.
looks great in that.
Yeah, she looks awesome. And
And Demon Bear looks great, and there was that possibility of what looked like Lockheed, showing up in a very slight second. That the trailer was also very, very dark. Like, you
Very
needed to be
dark.
in a pitch black dark room to
Yeah, it was
with your
hard to
brightness on
watch.
brightness on your screen up really high.
I
Yeah.
am curious how
Gave the
this
Game of Thrones finale a run for its
plays
money.
because, like, one of the Dark Phoenix things, yes, it was a not great movie
Right.
overall. But another
Yeah.
thing against it was that it didn't have any connection. People knew it was a lame duck movie.
Yeah.
It was dead in the water.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know that this is all dead now. Like, we don't know why they dusted it off, why they're putting it out, what the plan
Yeah.
is. Like, if this is the just weird epilogue to the Fox X-Men era, or if it does well, do they do something and continue it? Like, we don't know. So, we do know it'll be PG-13, so it's not like it's a rated R like thing for that whole other genre of harder comic book movies they might do. This would just be kind of a Marvel movie now, like,
Which
so,
I
Yeah.
think in this case helps it.
I do too. Yeah.
so I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on it. Does anybody have any parting thoughts before we move on about the
I'm
New Mutants
excited
trailer?
to see it. Like, I don't even have a lot of background with, these characters. I don't know a lot about them, but just from the cast and then seeing how well they kind of executed the trailer this time and gave me all the information I needed to know to understand what was happening. I'm probably going to go see this in the theater myself. Yeah. I'm very interested in it.
We got one sale.
Yeah.
Do we have any others? Let us know. All right, moving right along again. So, in terms of things, we've been waiting for. So, New Mutants we got.
Ugh.
Now we're getting Batman is happening. The Batman is filming. And we've seen first set photos of the Batman. And, nothing too crazy. We're not going to get too deep in this because there's nothing too crazy. But
Hey, it's a guy.
what we've seen is interesting.
There's a helmet on a person.
We've seen Colin Farrell
outfit.
on set holding an umbrella. And what we've seen is, does he have gray hair? I think he has like gray hair.
The
in it.
thing
I don't know
read
if it's
said
gray
blonde.
hair or if it's bleach blonde. Yeah, it's
Bleach blonde.
like
It's a light color.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
a
his
light
dark,
color.
Okay.
Irish black hair
Yeah.
like as
Yeah.
usual. So we've seen that, but otherwise, I mean, we haven't seen anything like unique about his appearance. There's no like prosthetics, no elaborate like costume. Thank God he doesn't look like Joker from Suicide Squad or anything. Like, sorry, Janelle. I know that's
love
one
him.
of your faves.
I love him.
I'm sorry, I just was not a shot. But he doesn't have like any over flamboyant like big fur coat and a monocle or anything like that.
Yeah.
Basically everything we've been seeing in fan concept art since he's been cast.
And I just want to say thank you for not putting a giant like prosthetic nose like hanging down over his
You don't
face.
like the nose?
No, because it's him and he's beautiful. Like, don't do that to him, please. I would have rather had that happen to a different actor, not him.
Yeah, and so that's the first one. So we saw our Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, that Matt Reeves himself kind of said, "Oh, is that you, Ozzy?" and kind of like joking around. But he's holding an umbrella, so there's that. He could have one of those weaponized umbrellas, which would be pretty cool. But so far, he just looks like he might be a gangster, which would make sense. The other photo was kind of a little bit more exciting because we saw a very covered face Robert Pattinson filming a scene where he's kind of riding a motorcycle and like what looks like he's been doing some motorcycle diary style travels. And of course, that has got fans excited because that is from the comics. Batman on a motorcycle is part of a storyline in the more modern Batman stories, and so that was kind of a cool little Easter egg connection to the modern.
I saw the images
comics.
of that, and I wish they would have, outfitted him more like the comic book. I mean, even if they kept the ears and all that, like with the mask, if they wanted to keep that, not figured out yet, it would have just been nice to see more of like the camo with the, like all of the pockets and things.
Something that looked more like a costume as opposed to a dude.
I mean,
Well, we also have to question. We don't know the context.
right,
So
right.
if this is about a young Batman and all of that, like this could be
Before he knows, like,
before
what
he
wants
knows,
to
like
become.
yeah,
Okay.
this could be him training. It could be him, learning detective skills all over
Trying
the
out
world.
the vigilante thing.
Yeah, doing all that stuff.
He's
so.
got the little, like
It looks. I know where they're
thing.
filming in London, but it looks like he could be like riding through like a desert or some kind of
Yeah.
other terrain that is
very Daredevil, like early career, having that just the thing of whatever he could scrounge up, even though he's a millionaire. Whatever.
And I would say my guess is it looked to me like it would be like a flashback to him training and learning like we see Batman always learning to fight and like learning martial arts and stuff like that, and even Batman Begins did like theatrics and all that ninja stuff, but the training of him becoming a detective and learning all these skills from going for some of the most crime-ridden areas, and specifically where he learned from both criminals and lawmen and all that stuff
That's
is
cool.
an interesting part we could possibly see.
Yeah.
I want to see some what's his name, Mattress Malone. I want to see some Mattress Malone action. Batman's criminal identity, alter ego. So we haven't seen too much yet, but the reason we want to bring this up is because it's the Batman, guys, and it's finally happening.
It's actually
happening.
This is a movie that is coming out.
Yes, they are. Well, depending on what they get in the can. Yes, or it's a movie that WB will recut and throw some deep fakes in and then release. And
So I know Jim has said in the past that he was not excited for a Batman. Like he wasn't there yet.
Yeah, I remember that,
These
too.
making you like, are you getting that swell yet?
Not yet.
Are you not entertained?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Oh my God, Jim.
I want to.
What's it gonna take? Costume?
The suit. I think
A
the
trending
suit.
topic
The
on
suit
Twitter.
will get. No, I think the suit will be the thing that gets me in.
That's good.
That does not disqualify what I just said. A trending topic on Twitter, and Jim will be
I
excited.
mean, that would be the costume. No.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I think the suit will get me in.
Will it? What if it's bad?
Then I won't be excited for it.
What if it's Batwoman's first suit? The suit she finds in the Batcave. That was terrible.
No,
That's a
then
terrible suit.
then I will still not be excited.
What if that's the suit, but everything in the set photos looks awesome?
I still don't think that would be.
You don't
enough.
think?
you gotta finish that thought.
It's got to be the suit.
Still don't think.
It's all about the suit.
It is all about the suit. I'm with you on that. I'm also not excited about the movie. I'm not excited. I'm very neutral right now. It's not one of the things that I'm most pumped about.
Mark this stuff down.
Batman oversaturation is a real.
Nah, I don't
If
agree
you
because-
guys are not used to this show, if you're just getting in, mark these down.
Yeah,
Mark these
These
timestamps.
get revisited.
Because people try to relaunch future episodes and they'll be like, I'm so excited, but we got to keep the receipts. You guys,
Yeah.
lukewarm on the Batman.
It's
Remember
just because
this.
I'm really not seeing anything. Like even with the photos that were released, I could not make out like anything. They were so poor quality. They didn't make me. It just looked like they were taking pictures of random people on the street. I just wasn't pumped.
You just described most set photos.
yeah,
That's pretty much what
that's
they're
true.
doing.
No, I don't know.
Out of the
I like the Suicide Squad set photos that we saw. Those were pretty
That's
cool.
not a good example.
But, sure, the Winter Soldier and Falcon
True.
set photos
But
look
it's
pretty
because
cool.
they had the suit. You're right.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the whole suit thing. You're
I
right.
will
We need to see
say-
him in his outfit.
I can look past a less than stellar suit if I liked it. Like Batfleck, I don't love that suit.
Oh, I love that
I still don't love that suit,
Oh,
but
I
I
love that
like
suit so
Ben
much.
Affleck as Batman.
I
love
can
Ben
definitely
Affleck.
look past the suit as well.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be perfect. So anyway.
All right, so we're going to keep you updated because now that you know the set photos are out, it's going to keep happening. So we'll see more and more
Good,
and more
more. Yeah.
as we go. And then you can hear the flip-flops and
Yeah,
excitement
we'll just flip.
when that happens. It's a lovely process we have going here. All right, in our final news story, We have the first concept art from Avatar 2. Continue our theme of things we thought we were never getting, and now we're here in 2020. Avatar 2. It doesn't come out in 2020.
That should be the
but
name
we're
of this
getting
episode.
When does it come out? 2021?
2023, 2025, I believe, is the schedule right now for Avatar 2, 3, and 4, and then I think 2027 for Avatar.
We're never. I mean,
I don't
look.
know.
I know we never thought we were going to see Avatar 2. We're never seeing the other Avatar.
Isn't he doing them back
The world
to back?
might not even be here for Avatar 5. The way we're going.
There's no way. There's no unless he's
2, 3,
self-financed.
4, 5, and 6.
He's doing it all back to back?
There's a whole new trilogy after this.
Unless
but I'm
he
saying, isn't he
self-finances
filming
that
them
entire
back to back?
thing.
Yeah.
There's no way anyone's giving him money to do it.
Unless this one makes, stupid.
If it makes $1 billion, they'll give him the money.
Okay, so here's a bet. Do you think it'll hit $1 billion?
Well, let's talk about this concept art of
Yeah.
what we're going to see. That's a good segue. So, the concept art revealed by 20th Century Fox. It's from what Jim Cameron showed at CES, and basically some plug for Mercedes, but who cares about them right now? They ain't giving this show money. And basically, it's Avatar 2 has always been the promise that we're going to get this revolutionary 3D experience now taken underwater. It's basically where Jim Cameron's been living since under Avatar 1. He's been living somewhere in the ocean, deep underwater, studying things. Like, he literally went and found, like, the Titanic and did a bunch of other crazy stuff to better help him film 3D underwater effects. And so this is, like, the big hook to this. So it's not surprising that the concept art that was revealed for Avatar 2 is basically, like,
Water stuff.
the Pandora people go to a water park for summer. Like, they go into, like, Pandora Beach, and I mean, it all looks pretty stunning.
Beautiful.
And beautiful in concept. There's good stuff of them, oh my God, I can't remember these characters' names anymore. Jake Sully and Neytiri kind of overlooking, have a nice little couples beach view. There's a view
That
at
was
night,
impressive.
of
I don't
course,
think
of
I
them
could do
fishing for food. What's up?
That was impressive. I don't think I could recall their names like that.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I just remember the things that annoyed me in Avatar. Jake Sully. Them flying on those dragon things over the water, which is pretty cool.
Is that a shot from
It's
Panzer
concept art.
Dragon Saga? That's what that looks like.
And some strange structures in them, riding kind of like aquatic dinosaur things. So that's all pretty exciting, and some of the kind of landmark structures that are very interesting.
The moons, or is that a planet in the background?
The moons, because the moons are supposed to be a big part.
Oh,
I think the moons are supposed to be big parts of the sequels. Like,
Oh.
this may actually, okay, now this has been many years, but from my recollection, this may be taking place on a moon of Pandora, and that planet could therefore be Pandora. Like, they may be going to a moon. That was one of the concepts, like, really early on, but that was
Got it.
years ago, so I don't know if that's still the case. But it was that the sequel is supposed to be set on one of the moons of Pandora, which is, like, covered in oceans and had something to do with oceans and affecting the planet or something
Okay.
like that. So we'll see if that's still
Water
the case.
World, Avatar style.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Except there's a lot of land in these pictures. They are showing a lot of like island.
Yeah, there's like these
vibes.
weird island masses and stuff like that. And I think, like I said, if this is a place that's kind of covered in water, then, like, yeah, these are just the kind of intermittent land masses and whatnot. So
Is this, I feel like, I'm so afraid. I feel like I'm usually a voice of positivity on the show. But today I'm like, I'm not excited about this and I'm not excited. I feel like they're making these movies to justify creating an entire section of Animal Kingdom in Florida to
They already have. They've already done it.
Like when that came out, being a Floridian, being from Orlando and loving these parks, growing up on them, pretty much my whole life has revolved around the Disney parks thing.
I'm sorry.
We were all very confused. We were like, why did they come out with an Avatar park? Like, this movie's so old and nobody cares anymore. Yeah. And it's beautiful, but it's kind of like it's not really relevant anymore.
Soulless, like
yeah.
the first movie.
And then now it's been so long, and the
It's
reason why
crazy.
the movies
These
was
kids were obsessed with this. Like,
but I
Yeah.
know, but now it's like it's been so long, and we've had so many 3D movies come out since, and we've
no,
experienced
all those kids who were
this.
obsessed with the world of Pandora are now busy, like, vaping jewels and
Don't they have like kids and stuff now? I don't know.
Like, yeah, they're on to other things. Like, yeah. So
I don't know if I'm
getting
very.
their TikToks up, you know.
I'm definitely not as pumped as I was
Nobody is.
Back
Like,
then, it was like
nobody's
insane.
pumped. That's why we're starting to
Okay.
get this concept art
Good to
coming
know.
out, and just
I'm
to
glad
remind
I'm not
people,
the
like,
only
hey,
one.
Avatar 2, it's a thing that's going to happen in another year and a half.
Yeah.
I think it will ignite that very dedicated base, and I think it will do well
No,
at the
dude,
box
we're
office.
talking about Avatar 2. This isn't about the election. Leave that out.
But who? I don't even know who
I'm not one of those. I'm not saying that.
that
'cause I
dedicated
care
Avatar
less.
audience is. Like I don't know.
Like
who
I
they
said, they were there. I mean, this was like a religion to the kids at the time.
for
But those
sure.
kids are vaping jewels and like crushing up pills and doing other stuff right now.
And
They're
that's why I
not
think
like
this
still
is not-
worrying about environmentalism on Pandora.
Yeah, that's why I think this is in no danger. I mean, I remember we talked about this at one point of like I don't feel like this is going to be the seesaw battle between Endgame and Avatar 2, and then
Yeah.
Marvel does another. I don't think this ultimately unseats Endgame, and it's because some are like, oh, wait till Avatar 2, that's gonna blow that one out of the water, and I don't know, maybe it gets close.
Well, I
but,
think
yeah.
the thing is, when Avatar 2 comes out, the re-release of Avatar will unseat Endgame.
That's true. Yes, now that could happen.
Yes.
But as far as the sequel becoming, sitting at the top and passing it itself, I don't think so far anyway, just gauging off of momentum or fever for this, I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, James Cameron's got to run out of luck one day. Who knows? Maybe this will be it. But all right, when we come back from a break, we are going to get into our deep dive section because we have a new movie to review today. And we are going to talk about the comics coming out this week because it's been a minute. And we have Matt for one more minute. And so he's going to do us
Take
one
advantage
parting
of it.
little favor.
Yes.
All right, so stay tuned for that. All right, so we're back. And like I said, we're going to do a quick movie review because I made the mistake of going out and seeing the Grudge reboot.
Oh my gosh.
Over the
I made
weekend.
mistake.
And if you can't tell already about how this review is going
That
to
was a
go.
good lead.
What a way
Yeah.
to start the segment.
So I'm a big horror fan. I was in college and like really hitting my stride and kind of converting from like film fan to industry person, like right around the time of like the J-horror wave of the 2000s. And so like I saw all these movies. I saw like The Ring, The Grudge, both the original Japanese versions and the English remakes and all that stuff. And these were like near and dear to my heart. So I was really excited when this reboot was coming. And I saw previews of it at New York Comic Con. I came back singing its praises, like saying that it was going to be like this great thing. It's rated R. It's going to be reset in America so we can get this like, we're not trying to ape the whole J-horror version of it. You take our thing, Nicholas Pesce or whatever his name is, the director, seemed to have a lot of good ideas about what this would be. But unfortunately, as a kind of fledgling director, he doesn't have it to kind of get it up on film. There's a lot of mistakes that the Grudge reboot makes. First and foremost, it is trying to copy the non-linear format of the original films with these like intersecting stories that happen, which becomes a big mess.
Is it confusing?
Yeah, it's confusing and it robs the film of any kind of momentum or pacing that you can grasp onto. He also tries to mimic the kind of a lot of part of J-horror isn't like American horror in the sense that we like, torture porn and gore and all that stuff. Whereas kind of like mood, concepts, atmosphere has a lot to do with J-horror and the fundamentals of that. And he tries to copy that. So he tries to make this kind of dark-toned, very moody, somber version of The Grudge, which ultimately just becomes a very boring beyond belief version of The Grudge.
Oh, no.
Like people just looking sad and driving cars.
Is
like
it frightening at all?
No, it's not.
Nothing?
Wow.
It's hardly frightening at all. Like there's hardly any scares. They don't even employ like the actual Grudge ghosts and monsters very much in the movie.
The head thing.
Wow.
The head thing is done like you see in the trailers for John Cho.
So they
and that's,
basically just
like-
showed all of the frightening things in the trailer.
Yeah, those are all the ghost parts are in the trailer.
Wow.
And it's kind of really baffling because what you're left with is just literally scenes of these actors, most of whom are really talented. I mean, you got John Cho in this. You got, what's her name? Andrea Riseborough, who's really talented. Lynn Shay from Something About Mary. Two other women. And I'll be honest, two of these actresses look way too similar. It's so hard to keep them straight throughout most of the movie. But Jackie Weaver, who's like also a really talented, actress. So yeah, you got them in this movie, and Tara Westwood, and and so basically you got these intersecting stories of this cop investigating the case, this old couple living in the house, John Cho is a real estate agent trying to sell the house, and his wife, and a family who connects a mother, daughter, and a father, because the mother was a real estate agent and working in Japan, and she was the one who went into the Grudge house and then brought it over to America, and how those stories all played out. And like I said, the movie, every time you think something's going to gain momentum, it switches to one of the other storylines. It's mostly just the characters. It looks more like a drama than a horror movie, because most of the scenes are about like the different situations these people are in. Like the cop's son's getting bullied, and she's trying to fit in because her husband died of cancer, and there's like a whole storyline about that.
Yeah.
And so he tries to get into the emotions behind the Grudge, which is great if you can balance it with horror, but there is no balance here.
Yeah.
This is a drama that has a few weird ghost scenes. And it's most of the time
not even
just
scary,
people
just weird.
and it's very depressing. Like, I'm going to talk full spoilers now, so if you're hoping to see The Grudge, don't. Just don't. Just listen to what I'm about to say. But, like, my wife came away really disturbed because of John Cho storylines about him and his wife, like, having their first child. I shouldn't tell you this. But they find out that the child is going to have they get all these tests, and then we meet them because the child's going to have a very almost certain chance of having like ADS or some really bad developmental disease. And so they're basically spending this time trying to decide if they're going to keep the child or not. The wife ultimately decides she wants to keep the child, as, after John Cho goes in this house. He eventually gets possessed by the Grudge, and like the last scene of them is him being possessed and her coming in the kitchen saying like, what's wrong? And he grabs a knife and charges her, and they don't show it, but he basically stabs the baby to death. And there's like a scene they come back to of her just like bloody laying on the floor, and he kills himself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's how it ends?
So that's the climax. Oh no, that's not how it ends.
Oh.
That's the climactic scene of the movie. Because eventually all the storylines converge with everybody's death. So but it's anticlimactic because everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Because the cop's investigating everybody being dead. But the end scene is just like this weird orgy of all storylines of them the moments they all died. And it's presented like a mystery at the beginning with some of the bodies and stuff. But like the other part is this kind of like older couple, Lynn Shay from Something About Mary is living in the house, and she gets possessed, cuts off her own fingers in a very gruesome scene, and kills her husband, who's been caring for her, who knew there were murders in the house, but wants them to be able to be like spirits there together. Don't ask me what that makes sense. So like, yeah. And it ends with like the cop kind of beating the ghost, doing this,
So
going
you're
home,
saying this
sending
was
her
the
son to
perfect
school.
Christmas movie.
Yeah, sending her son to school, and then she gets horribly murdered by the ghost at the very end. It's just the movie ends like the son going outside, getting on the bus while his mom's like in the house screaming until she's not, and then just a scene of the house outside, and then the credits roll, and everybody was just like, WTF.
Oh my
like,
God.
what is this?
What was the energy in that room? What?
Everybody was just like,
Was it just dead silent?
well, I think two kids who got up and said it best for me. That was trash, bro. That was trash. I was like, that was trash, bro. That was trash. So, yeah, The Grudge is one of the worst horror reboots or remakes, or it's not a remake. It's one of the worst horror attempts at a reboot I've ever seen.
That sucks. The
it's
trailer looked so promising.
Yeah, it did. Good for those trailer editors.
Well, and like I remember Kofi coming out of New York Comic Con being like, "Yeah, I'm excited for The Grudge."
I
think
was
it's gonna
really
be good."
psyched. That's why I was like there opening night and like all psyched about it.
Oh my God.
I bought tickets in advance, paid that service fee. I was looking at my wife like, money well spent. Like, yeah. So, yeah, The Grudge is really bad. Avoid like the plague. We're not starting off 2020 on a positive note with that movie, but it's going to get better, hopefully. Bad Boys, looking at you. Doolittle, looking at you. But that's my review
I can't wait for
of
those.
The Grudge. So, moving right along, Matt, we have an announcement to make. So, Matt is going to be here today, but you're taking some time off for the next few weeks, months. Who knows? We don't know.
Jeez.
You don't know what you're getting into. I just gave you an open book of time because we'll see.
He's gave me nightmare fuel. For the
You
last
are sitting
5
here, but
minutes, by the way.
tomorrow
Thank
you have a kind of important appointment.
Yeah,
The birth of your first child.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Ember Lunette. Actually, it's Ember Lunette Yvonne.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Yeah, because Anissa wanted the extra name. but I'm not going to object because Yvonne is Batgirl. So whatever. That's awesome.
Yes.
Sure.
So yeah, that's tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be out of pocket for about 4 weeks. So
Month or two, whatever.
whatever
it
I'm
is.
going.
It's almost like Kofi doesn't want you to come.
Yeah, I know, for real. That's what it's starting to feel like.
I'm a dad of two. I know what realities are for this. You say you're gone a month, and then 6 weeks later, you come in here looking like you were abandoned on the island and you've been living in the hatch and lost.
It's gonna be like my version of the beach.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
Meanwhile, he's just gonna be playing video games the
Gonna
whole
have
time.
a little volleyball.
End of week 4, we just get a call from Matt. Not yet.
Not coming back.
Not yet. I'm not coming. So yeah, this is going to be your last comics rundown before fatherhood, before
Yep.
you come back in a whole different world of kind of life experience.
Yes. Ember is going to visit the show, by the way.
So
Yes.
We're gonna have to find someone to do the comics rundown now.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are you guys gonna have the comics rundown continuing on?
oof, we don't plan that far ahead on
That's
the
a
show.
good question.
Yeah, of
I can do
course
a
we
video game
will.
rundown.
We don't plan that
It
far
is
ahead
a
on the show.
fan favorite segment of the show. Of course, we'll have it.
So, for good fortune, give us a good, truly rundown of some good comics.
All right.
What
Well,
will you be reading in between poop changings?
I will be reading some new stuff from Boom, which is Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 11 is out. The Hellmouth saga is continuing. It's been a really cool crossover. If you're looking for something horror tinged that is not The Grudge to read, so that comes
It's
out.
been going
Oh,
on
God.
for a while now.
No, it's long.
Yeah.
Like when they announced it, it was like, oh, okay, you're gonna have tie-ins in each single issue, and then it has its own 8-issue series in the middle, and then they're gonna do like their own little alpha omega thing. So yeah, it is long, but it's been good so far. It's been enjoyable. Another favorite is Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 2. You know I can fit a whole comic segment in here without Power Rangers, which is extremely fun. I'm not gonna go into spoiler stuff, but there's some really fun stuff for both franchises coming in this.
It looks great.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Simone DeMio's artwork, fantastic. So Batman number 86 is the first one in the post-Tom King era. So James Tynion.
What did you think?
I liked it more than I thought, but I think it has to do with the fact that Joker is not, like, that tease, we're not all in yet. Like, we're still, like, Deathstroke's a part of this issue. They're doing some other things instead of just making it, oh, it's a Joker book. So as long as it can kind of balance that, we're good, in good territory. I'm interested to see if he can actually make me care about a Joker story at the moment. Just because, like Jim is with Batman stuff in general, I'm a little Jokered out at the moment. There's just so much Joker stuff going on all the time with DC.
Never not too much Joker.
I mean, between Harley Quinn, Joker, Sanity, Joker, what is it? The Good Smile or whatever. That was a miniseries. And then just the core Batman stuff. There's so much Joker out there, plus the movies and the TV show. So it's like sometimes it feels like you're just getting inundated with Joker stuff. So I'm a little there, but I hope he can win me over. Also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 101. They just had their landmark event. This is actually a perfect spot if you've been looking for a place to kind of hop on. We are 100 issues in, but 101 is actually a perfect spot to do that and jump on in. Clock number 1 is actually a brand new series from Image. So the premise is it gave me I Am Legend, and essentially like that one episode of The Walking Dead that I absolutely love, which is the CDC episode. So, essentially they find the one doctor who's working on stuff and he's alone. Okay, so the premise of this is it's clock number 1, and it's essentially like a viral outbreak happens, and all the people that are healthy keep getting these various forms of cancer. And they can't figure out what it's from. This one guy, one scientist, it's baffled the scientific community. And this one scientist loses his wife and is trying to fight to save his child. And so it's just like this one person's fight, and it's like this combination of research. They're trying to find a real way to like shut this down, and you have an emotional story. So if they pull it off, this could be a really cool miniseries, and it's just a miniseries, not an ongoing. So Clock number 1 is something that if you're kind of looking for something for that vibe, check it out. Also, Absolute Carnage is in trade paperback form. So I cannot, other than House and Powers, which is the comic event of 2019. This was my favorite event.
It was. It was really good.
So it's all collected in one thing, sets up a lot of big
Best
stuff.
Marvel tie-ins in a long time.
Yes. easy. And then we also have Miles Morales: The End. This is their series of essentially like what if books on, hey, this is how this character goes out or dies or whatever. Miles has this, and it's an older Miles, and they always do kind of interesting things. So these are kind of hit and miss.
That's right. This is the one this is the final
Yeah.
Miles Morales story. Too.
So that one is out. Also, Deadpool #2. I adored the first issue. If you're looking for a little lightheartedness, since a lot of this stuff has been depressing so far, that is very much fun. Also, Excalibur #2. Fallen Angels #5, which is good again, because the last 2 issues have completely sucked, but this one was actually decent. And then Marvel's Avengers Thor #1, which is a prequel to the upcoming game. And then we also have Marvel's X #1, which is a prequel series to Earth X. For those kind of looking at that. Also, we have Star #1, which is a spin out of Captain Marvel. And then we have X-Force #5. So plenty of X-Men stuff just in general. Marauders is still clearly the best one of the group, but X-Force is a close second to me because I really enjoyed X-Force. So that's Comics Roundup.
I thought X-Men came back in issue 4.
Oh my God, that last issue of X-Men was awesome.
That was very, very good.
Yeah, it was basically the one we were waiting for.
Yeah.
Apocalypse, Xavier, and Magneto go to a World Economic Summit, and intrigue and hilarity ensues. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And also, one of the reasons why Fallen Angels is a little better this week is because, guess what? Magneto and Mr. Sinister are both in this issue, and they actually, stopped just writing a bunch of filler. So that helps.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right, how you feel? Last comic rundown before you start spending your comic money on diapers.
Feels good. It feels good. It feels good. I'm excited.
Oh, we're excited for you, buddy. Good luck out there tomorrow, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because, like they say, you blinked and it is gone, and all of a sudden there's a little person staring back at you making demands. And so that'll do it for this episode of Comic Book Nation. If you are just getting into the show now in 2020 or hopped on our crazy Star Wars bonus episode, you can find new episodes every Wednesday, every Friday on Comicbook.com, where we have an RSS feed that you can subscribe to for regular updates about the show, or you can subscribe on your favorite listening platform. We are on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Google Playlists, and you can find us on YouTube under the Comicbook.com YouTube page. If you want to continue any of the discussion we've just been having, hit us up at the hashtag Comic Book Nation. We have a growing kind of sector of fans that continuously talk with us, and we talk back with you. So hit us up, because this is sometimes where we get our best segments for the show. And make sure you always check out the Wednesday episode and Friday episodes of the show. We do it twice a week, so make sure you check out both. If you like the show, leave us a 5-star review. Oh, man, we probably should have read some reviews since you guys are both going to be gone for the next half of 2020.
Me? No, I'm only going to miss one.
Yeah, she's gone for one.
Well, I counted all as just like gone forever. So
I am
we're going
not
to be
having a
reading
child.
some reviews while I'm sitting here lonely. Maybe it'll just be me and a pile of reviews to read. T-shirts that I throw out the camera like I'm handing them out. But if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and we read it on the show, we will send you a free T-shirt. And it's time for another wave of that, so that's coming up. Otherwise, thank you for hanging with us. This has been Comic Book Nation. We hope to see you guys next time, and we're getting out of here.
Deuces.